As the crowd eagerly awaited Lupita's arrival at the arena to meet her new suitor, a strong sense of joy filled the air, even reaching the king himself. However, the giant stamper walked out of the arena, disappointment etched on his face, having been dethroned as the unbeaten warrior of Naruto. Just as the celebrations began to blossom, they were abruptly interrupted by one of King Lucci's servants, who returned to the arena, breathless and visibly shaken. She hurried to the center, struggling to find the words to break the unsettling news. The moment her anxious demeanor caught the crowd's attention, an eerie silence fell over the spectators. "Where is the princess?" King Lucci demanded, his voice a mixture of authority and concern. The servant hesitated, her fear visibly mounting. "Speak up," the king urged, impatience creeping into his tone. Your Majesty, something terrible has happened to the princess," she finally stammered. A wave of shock rippled through the crowd as the king rose from his seat, his breath quickening, heart pounding, and emotions surging like a tempest. "What happened to my daughter?" he asked, desperation lacing his voice. "We found her unconscious in her room. She is still alive," the servant explained, her words hanging heavily in the air. But her hair is gone." What was meant to be a day of celebration had devolved into chaos. The news of Lupita's condition sent shockwaves through the audience, but the reactions from King Lucci and Samodev revealed even greater horror. The king nearly fainted at the revelation, while Samodev's expression mirrored that of a man whose life had come crashing down. Sir Malachi, though devastated by the news, felt a flicker of relief that she was still alive. King Lucci and a few others rushed into Lupita's room to check on her. When they arrived, they found Lupita awake, but in shock. She made no movement and said nothing. She sat on a bed, staring blankly at the floor, seemingly unaffected by the presence of those around her, and all her hair had been shaved off. Lupita's hair had always been her pride throughout her life. She felt special and unique because of the admiration she received for it. Unfortunately, that pride had now been stripped away from her. The king had made an announcement to the entire nation. He was filled with anger and rage, but most of all, he was filled with fear. He had never experienced such fear since he became king, and even though he tried his best to hide it, one could tell just by looking at him. In his announcement, he clearly stated that whoever had hurt his daughter would be punished severely once found. He also mentioned that whoever had done harm to his daughter should come forward before investigations began. This way, the punishment would be much lighter. However, evening had come and no one had stepped forward to make a confession. Talia and Archie were deeply concerned about their sister's condition, but had refrained from voicing their worries. Like everyone else, they snooped around to gather information about the events that led to Lupita's attack. However, the pressing question still remained: who attacked Lupita and cut off her hair? King Lucci had summoned some motive, and the two engaged in a private meeting inside the king's private room, a place where he felt secure discussing delicate matters. "Your Majesty, I sympathize with you regarding the dire turn of events, but I assure you we will get to the bottom of this," Samodev said. King Lucci turned to face Samodev, fear evident on his face. "Whoever cut off her hair and ran away with it must know about our secret," he stated. "I suspect so, Your Majesty. But how could anyone have known a secret that has been kept safe for years? Some motive inquired. Only you and I know of this secret, and I have never disclosed it to anyone, not even the Queen. Never, King Lucci exclaimed. Your Majesty, I would never betray you or the people of our land, some motive replied. I know, and I trust you, King Lucci responded. We need to find out who took that hair and bring it back. Otherwise, if we don't, this kingdom will fall. Just as King Lucci and some motive were about to conclude their discussion, they heard a sound just outside the door of their private room, indicating that someone was eavesdropping on their conversation. However, when some motive rushed outside to investigate, he found no one, though he sensed a lingering presence. We have a problem, Your Majesty, some motive said urgently. Someone was definitely eavesdropping on our conversation. There's a real possibility that someone knows we're hiding something. King Lucci's heart raced. Throughout his reign, he had taken every measure to ensure the security of his nation and the safety of his people. Yet now, following the troubling events that had unfolded, a profound sense of vulnerability gripped him. Both King Lucci and some motive pondered the identity of the listener. As soon as their conversation concluded, King Lucci ordered all his strongest warriors to launch an immediate investigation. All scheduled events at the arena were postponed, and a serious search operation commenced. The warriors scoured the homes of Lubuto in their quest for the elusive heir, mandating that citizens remain within the kingdom's borders during this critical time. Although King Lucci harbored suspicions about the visitors from other nations invited for the street fights, no one from outside was subjected to search. This decision was made to uphold the fragile peace. Hours slipped away as the warriors combed through every nook and cranny, yet they found nothing. Still, the king insisted they continue to search until they uncovered the truth. Meanwhile, Talia and Archie exchanged hushed words. Father and some motive are hiding something, Archie whispered, catching Talia's attention. What would they be hiding? Talia asked, her curiosity piqued. I overheard Father saying that if Lupita's hair isn't found, this kingdom will fall, Archie replied, her voice laden with gravity. What could that possibly mean? Talia inquired, her brow furrowing. I suspect that Lupita's hair is more than just hair. There is something significant about it that we don't know. Only Father and some motives seem to know the truth. If what you're saying is accurate, it explains Father's deep concern and why Lupita's hair is so unusual. It just won't stop growing. We must discover the secret they're keeping, Talia declared. How are we going to do that? Archie asked, a hint of apprehension in her voice. We will find a way, Talia replied, determination shining in her eyes.